Hello, grade 9 and 10s. I hope you've had a lovely long weekend and that you're all pleased with your report cards, or that you're ready to settle in and keep working. So there's only one term left for this whole year, so let's keep working as hard as we can and keep on top of assignments so they don't build up at the end of the year. Thank you for sending in your character sketches. I enjoyed reading those. So we are going to have one more big assignment for Macbeth, and I'm going to tell you about it now. It's not due for a little while, and I'm not going to tell you all the details, but just so you're aware of what's coming, you're going to be writing a formal essay on the topic in Macbeth that is it Macbeth's own fault that he ends up doing such evil things like killing the king, killing his friend Banquo, and ends up dying? There's a little spoiler for you. Is it his own fault that he does all of those evil things, or was it his fate? So was it that was just the way God or the gods had decided for him and there was nothing he could do about it? You can really make an argument on either point. So you could say, no, Macbeth had his own choices. At any point he could have said, no, I'm not going to do this. It doesn't matter if people are bothering him to do it. He could have made his own choice. Or you could equally say, well, the witches tricked him into it. They made this prophecy and they led him down a path which you couldn't go back on. So you will be choosing one side to argue that it was his fate, that it's not his fault that he made such bad choices, or that he did have free will and he could have chosen differently. So you can be thinking about that a little. Just keep that in the back of your mind for now. And I will give you more information that in the coming, I would say probably next week. Okay? So for now, what we're going to do is keep reading in Act 5. So you've already read Act 5, Scene 1, where Lady Macbeth has seemingly gone crazy, or she's a bit mentally disturbed by the guilt she's feeling over all of the murders. So that's sad. In some ways it's a bit of a relief because we realize she's not entirely cold and heartless. She does have a heart and a conscience. Okay, so now we're going to get back into the battle. So we know that there's a big battle that's been kind of gearing up for Macbeth to fight against those coming from England who want Malcolm to be the king. So, So we are getting ready for that. But before we do that, let's go back and think, why does Macbeth feel pretty confident that he's not going to be defeated? So let's go back to Act 4. You don't have to go there if you don't want to, but just stay with me. So remember, he goes to the witches and he asks for some more prophecy, and they gave him three. He saw 3 apparitions and they gave him 3 prophecies or warnings. And the first one was, beware the Thane of Fife, who is Macduff. So beware of Macduff. And as the reader, we can see why he should be scared of Macduff, because Macduff has gone to England to get Malcolm. He's coming back to fight, and he's not only does he want to get rid of him as king, but he's coming back with a personal vengeance now because Macbeth has murdered his wife and children. So he should be careful of him. So that's very appropriate. And then the second one said, don't worry, you won't be defeated. No one born of woman can defeat or harm Macbeth. Okay? And then so that's strange. And then the third one was, no one will ever, Macbeth will not be called. Great Burnham Wood to hide Dunsinane Hill shall come against him. So Macbeth won't be defeated until the woods marches on his castle. So how could the woods march on your castle? So he feels quite confident. Now there's an important word that you need to know to help you understand the coming scenes. That word is paradox. So these statements that the witches have told him are paradoxical statements. They are paradoxes, which means that it seems impossible that these things could be true together, or they're really difficult to understand, or they have some opposite facts, and yet they are true. So even though he won't be defeated by a woman or someone born of a woman, and he won't be defeated until the woods marches on the castle, and it seems like, well, how could either of those things happen? It is true that he needs to beware of Macbeth. And so these paradoxes are things that the witches are telling Macbeth to try to trick him. They're purposely trying to trick him into feeling false security so that he is defeated. And that's a good argument for why it's not his fault that he goes into so much evil, because the witches really are trying to trick him and trap him. Okay, so those are some paradoxes. So let's get back to Act 5, Scene 2. And I will read this to you and talk about it. And then for homework, you'll have a summary to write. So you can follow along with me, and then that's an easy way to read it. And then you can, I would recommend rereading it on your own at least once. But that's up to you. So, okay. So Scene 2, Act 5. So it says, Drummond colors enter Monteith, Caithness, Angus, Lennox, and soldiers. So it's a parade of soldiers coming in. Okay. The English power is near, led on by Malcolm, his uncle Seward, and the good Macduff. Revenges burn in them for their dear causes, would to the bleeding and the grim alarm excite the mortified man. Near Burnham Wood shall we well meet them, that way are they coming. So some of these soldiers are going to meet up with Macduff and Macbeth and Seward together, and they're going to meet in the woods, near Burnham Woods. So that's kind of interesting, okay? So we know that Burnham Woods is going to play an important role in Macbeth's downfall. Who knows if Donalbain be with his brother? For certain, sir, he is not. I have a file of all the gentry. There is Seward's son and many unrough youths that even now protest their first of manhood. What does the tyrant? Who's this tyrant? That's Macbeth. So what is Macbeth doing? Great Dunsinane he strongly fortifies. So he's in his castle, Dunsinane, and he's fortifying it. He's making it strong and trying to protect himself in there. Some say he's mad. Others that lesser hate him do call it valiant fury. But for certain, he cannot buckle his distempered cause within the belt of rule. That's a funny line. It says, some say he's mad, so some people say he's crazy, and others that lesser hate him call it valiant fury. There's nobody that likes him. There's people that hate him, and there's people that hate him less. That's a pretty terrible thing. You wouldn't want that to be said about you. Okay, Angus. Now does he feel his secret murders sticking on his hands? Now minutely revolts upbraid his faith breach. Those he commands move only in command, nothing in love. Now does he feel his title hang loose about him like a giant's robe upon a dwarfish thief. So he's wearing a giant's robe. It's like he's taken on this role of being king. It's like putting on a giant's robe, and you're just this tiny thief, a dwarf who's a thief. So you don't fit the role. And they're saying that Macbeth is really starting to realize that he's not a good king. People are only obeying him out of fear, not because they love him. Monteith. Who then shall blame his pestered senses to recoil and start when all that is within him does condemn itself for being there? Well, march we on to give obedience where 'tis truly owed. Meet we the medicine of the sickly weal, and with him pour we in our country's purge each drop of us, or so much as it needs to do the sovereign flower and drown the weeds. Make we our march towards Burnham. And then they exit marching. Okay, now, let's see. Let's do the next scene here. Okay, scene 3, we have Macbeth, the doctor, and attendants, and so, okay, so he's been getting reports of the soldiers that are coming. He's gotten a report from the doctor about how his wife is doing, and we know that she's not doing well. And he doesn't want, so he's saying, he's finding out that there's all these forces coming against him. The Scottish and English soldiers are coming and fighting against him, and he kind of reassures himself, saying, oh, they can't fight me. How convinced is he that he's going to win? We're not sure. Is he just trying to convince himself, or does he truly feel that nothing bad can happen to him? So he says, bring me no more reports. Let them fly all. Till Burnham Wood remove to Dunsinane, I cannot taint with fear. So until the woods marches on my castle, I have nothing to fear. What's that boy, Malcolm? Was he not born of woman? The spirits that know all mortal consequences have pronounced me thus. Fear not, Macbeth, no man that's born of woman shall ever have power upon thee. Then fly, false thanes, and mingle with the English epicures. The mind I sway by and the heart I bear shall never sag with doubt nor shake with fear. Okay, so he's saying, I don't have anything to fear from Malcolm. He's just a boy, and he was born of a woman, so he's really putting a lot of trust in the witches and their spirits, and he's saying, the spirits that know all mortal consequences have told me this. Just from a Christian standpoint, that's a very foolish thing to do, to trust in evil spirits, obviously. But even just from a regular standpoint, it's very foolish to trust. It's just very foolish to do this. So anyway, okay, so then a servant comes in and he says, the devil damn thee, black, thou cream-faced loon, where gotst thou that goose luck? There's 10,000 geese, villain, soldiers, sir. So the servant is getting scared. Go prick thy face and overread thy fear, thou lily-livered boy. What soldiers? Patch, death of thy soul. What's those linen cheeks of thine are counselors to fear. What soldiers, wayface? He's just saying you're a coward, and he's coming in just like very pale, and he's saying his cheeks are linen and cream-faced and wayface, so just very pale and sickly looking. Okay, so what soldiers are coming here? The English force, so please you. Take thy face hence. Get your face out of here. So the servant leaves. Satan! I am sick at heart when I behold Satan! This push will cheer me ever or deceit me now. I have lived long enough. My way of life is fallen into the sear, the yellow leaf, and that which should accompany old age, as honor, love, obedience, troops of friends, I must not look to have. So he's saying, I've lived long enough. He's getting weary of living. His life is fading quickly, and all the things that should be coming to him in his age, such as honor and love and obedience and just all the friends and enjoying all the good things he's done through his life, all the fruit of his labor, he doesn't have that. But instead, he has curses, not loud but deep, mouth honor, breath which the poor heart would fain deny and dare not. Satan! What's your gracious pleasure? What news more? All is confirmed, my lord, which was reported. I'll fight till from my bones my flesh be hacked. Give me my armor. So he's going to fight until his skin is hacked from his bones. 'Tis not needed yet. I'll put it on. Send out more horses. Scur the country round. Hang those that talk of fear. Give me mine armor. How does your patient, doctor? So he's saying he was checking in on his wife. So the country is revolting against him, and his wife is unwell. He says, "Not so sick, my lord, as she is troubled with thick-coming fancies that keep her from her rest. Cure her of that. Canst thou not minister to a mind diseased, pluck out from the memory a rooted sorrow, raise out the written troubles of the brain, and with some sweet oblivious antidote cleanse the stuffed bosom of that perilous stuff which weighs upon the heart?" So, can't you fix this? Why can't you fix her mind is upset, and why can't you get rid of her bad memories and give her something that will take away the problems that are weighing upon her heart? And the doctor said, "Therein the patient must minister to himself." So nobody can cure you of bad memories and a guilty conscience. That's something you need to deal with on your own. And he's made a reference to that earlier in the previous scene, that a doctor can't deal with that stuff. A minister could. She needs spiritual help. So then he says, "Throw physic to the dogs, all none of it." So what good are you? Your medicine and you being a doctor is useless. "Come, put mine armor on. Give me my staff." Attendants began to arm him. "Seaton, send out. Doctor, the thanes fly from me. Come, sir, dispatch. If thou couldst, doctor, cast the water of my land, find her disease, and purge it to a sound and pristine health, I would applaud thee to the very echo that should applaud again. Pull it off, I say. What rhubarb, senna, or what purgative drug would scour these English heads? Here's thou of them." So he's just going back and forth talking to his guy, Seaton, and talking to the doctor, and he's obviously just getting very frenetic and frantic. So he does want the doctor to help his wife, but he's stressed about what's going on. Okay. "I, my good lord, your royal preparation makes us hear something. Bring it after me. I will not be afraid of death and bane till Burnham Forest come to Dunsinane." And then the doctor says to the side, "Were I from Dunsinane away and clear, profit again should hardly draw me here." So he's saying, if he wasn't at the castle at that moment, nothing would induce him to go to the castle. He would not, doesn't matter how much money he were offered, he would not go back to that castle. Okay, so that's the end of that scene, so let's wrap that up. So things are intensifying, and the battle is intensifying. Well, it hasn't started yet, but a lot of battle preparations, and we're really leading to the climax of the story here, the final fight with Macbeth and the person who's going to kill him. And we can see that Macbeth's character and personality has changed immensely. So at the beginning of the play, he was a respected warrior, so he was violent, but he was fighting for the glory and the honor of his country and of his king, and now he's just fighting to keep the last scraps of dignity that he has, and huge change in him and huge change in Lady Macbeth. Great, thanks for watching. Have a good day.